The first generation Nissan Pathfinder was extremely popular. It was a body-on-frame SUV known for its off-road capability. It went head-to-head with the likes of the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Toyota 4Runner. Then somewhere in between, the Pathfinder lost its path. It became a family-friendly crossover with a CVT transmission. Well, Nissan's new motto for the 5th generation Pathfinder is the return to rugged. My name is Omar, and this is the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Do you really care if an SUV has off-roading capability? If you do care, let me know in the comments below because I would really like to know. And if you don't care, hit the like button because I'm pretty confident that a lot of people shopping for vehicles like the Nissan Pathfinder will never take it on an off-roading adventure. Oh, and if this is one of my first videos that you're watching, what's up? And consider subscribing. I drop new car reviews every single week, so you might find it valuable. But yeah, the new Pathfinder is hoping to go back to its rugged roots. However, it still rides on a unibody front-wheel drive platform, so it's still kind of a crossover. But they have added a new terrain management system called Intelligent 4x4. You have 7 drive and terrain modes to pick from, including sand, mud rut, snow, auto, eco, sport, and tow. Speaking of towing, it still comes in at 6,000 pounds, so no difference there. Now let's move on from the rugged talk and talk more about how this is as a family SUV because that's who this really appeals to. So the last generation Pathfinder was around since 2012, and from 2012 to now, this segment has seen a bunch of new additions and a lot of innovation. This is definitely one of the most competitive segments to compete in right now, and Nissan just kind of sat in the background watching the Kia Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade take the segment by storm. And you also have the updated Mazda CX-9, which is really nice. You also have the legends of the segment like the Ford Explorer, the Honda Pilot, and the Toyota Highlander, and it seems like what Nissan did here was just sit back and observe when making the new Pathfinder. It seems like the new Pathfinder has taken the best of what the competition has to offer and put it in here. It looks really tough and really rugged. I don't hate the design at all. I've had a lot of compliments in the week that I've been test driving this. That said, how is the new Pathfinder to drive? It's solid. It definitely feels way more comfortable and way more refined than the outgoing model. There is no longer a sluggish CVT transmission. You have a 9-speed automatic, which is awesome. But yeah, when it comes to this segment, there's not much difference in ride quality overall between the different options, although I will say that the Pathfinder is probably one of the more comfortable and quieter options offered here. You still have a 284 horsepower V6 under the hood, so it has plenty of power to take over vehicles on the highway. So do I recommend the Pathfinder over the competition? Let's find out. Let me give you a quick tour, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if this is the family SUV crossover that you should go for. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, let's do this. All right, before we get into the pricing details and the trim breakdowns and the exterior and interior updates, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the new Pathfinder. Now, since this is a family SUV, let's start off by looking at the most important thing that buyers consider when shopping in the segment, and that's second and third row legroom. Hop in the second row of the Pathfinder and you're working with 35.5 inches of legroom in the second row, which is pretty spacious for this segment. I am about 6 foot tall. That is my seating position, as you can see. Still have plenty of room, and the second row also moves forward and back if you wanted to. On the Pathfinder SV and SL, you can go for the option of adding second row captain chairs if that's your thing. The Platinum trim gets the captain chairs as standard. Going for the second row captain chairs will also give you this removable center console. You can just take it out, and once you remove it, it will obviously make it easier for your passengers to get into the third row. By the way, once you do remove the center console, it will also take away the 2 cup holders right here, so the Pathfinder also has cup holders right here on the door. That's a pretty clever move right there. Now, of course, there is another way to get into the third row, and that's by moving the second row seats out of the way, and it's very simple. You just hit this button right here, and the second row will lift up and move forward, making way for you to get into the third row. Now let's get in the third row and see what you're working with. You have a total of 28 inches of legroom. Once you're back here, let's move this seat back. This one locks into place a little bit forward. I've put this seat all the way back to show you the difference. 28 inches, not bad, not great either for somebody my size. But once you get back here, you're not an afterthought. You have 2 cup holders on each side and a USB-A port and a vent to keep you warm or cool, which you don't see a lot in all 3-row SUVs and crossovers. Now say you're one of the slightly unlucky ones that has to ride in the third row and the second row passengers just left without letting you out. You have a button right back here to let yourself escape. Pretty dope. Moving on, let's talk about some Nissan Pathfinder tech. Going for the Pathfinder Platinum will give you this beautiful digital instrument display. Once you unlock your Pathfinder, climb in and hit start, you'll get this really cool welcome animation. You can actually turn that off, but I don't know why you would. Overall, this digital gauge cluster display is very crisp and packed with a lot of information, and I really like the way how the Pathfinder graphic moves in a continuous animated flow as you're going through the screens. That's very smooth. You've got two viewable themes, including one with the standard dials and one that pushes them to the side and gives you a larger viewable center area. I like this theme a lot better. Interesting thing to note here, you do have a full screen map view, but it is only visible if you have a destination set in the native navigation system that comes with the Pathfinder. You can't just view the map while driving around without a destination set, and I wish you could. As for the infotainment system, it's good, but not the best in this segment. Size-wise, the S and the SV trims get an 8-inch touchscreen display, and the SL and the Platinum get an upgraded 9-inch touchscreen display. You do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto across the lineup. Wireless Apple CarPlay is only available with the 9-inch display. The native navigation system only comes into play at the SL and the Platinum trim. I'm not totally disappointed at the screen size, but I think the design and the performance of the system can definitely use some improvement. Alright, now let's talk pricing and trims. The base trim, Pathfinder S, starts at $33,680, and the top of the line Platinum trim starts at $46,540. If you want all-wheel drive on any of the trims, you're going to have to pay an extra $1,900. I'm testing the Platinum here with some options. As tested here, you're looking at $51,395, which yes, may seem a little high, but you don't have to go all out. Even the base trim of the Pathfinder comes pretty well equipped and looks great for an entry-level trim. So even with the base S trim, there aren't many areas with hard plastics. It's not like Nissan went totally cheap for the materials on the base S trim. It still looks really nice and luxurious on the inside, well, besides the manual cloth seats, of course. But yeah, as standard, the S trim will give you the 8-inch touchscreen display with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You'll also get tri-zone climate control, so everyone can remain nice and comfortable in your Pathfinder. And then you get the Nissan Safety Shield 360 as standard, which includes automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection. It also gives you rear automatic braking, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning, high beam assist, and much more. Now, stepping up to the SV trim, the Pathfinder carries over everything from the S trim and adds on a 10-way adjustable power driver seat. The passenger seat still remains manual, I don't know why. But hey, at least at this trim, you'll get heated front seats. You'll also get a remote start right here, and then a bunch of other driver assist tech, including enhanced versions of forward collision warning, blind spot intervention, and lane intervention. You'll also get Pro Pilot Assist, which is Nissan's upgraded adaptive cruise control system that uses road mapping to adjust your cruise speed related to curves and bends and even traffic signs. At the SV trim, you can add on a premium package for $2,170, and that will give you the second row captain chairs along with that removable second row center console. It will also add this giant panoramic sunroof along with an automatic power liftgate and a tow hitch so you can tow things. Now, when you get to the SL trim, you're right under $40,000, and this is where you will get a little fancy with leather seats that are extremely comfortable. You'll also get a heated steering wheel to keep your hands nice and warm. The SL throws on the upgraded 9-inch touchscreen display with navigation, and you also get wireless Apple CarPlay, along with a 360-degree camera. Now, on the SL trim, you have the option to throw on another premium package for $2,900, and that brings over everything from the SV premium package, but adds on 20-inch alloy wheels that look pretty sharp. It'll also add heated second row seats so the second row passengers can stay a little warm. You'll get a 13-speaker Bose sound system, which sounds pretty nice, and a wireless charger for your smartphone. And it isn't standard across the lineup, which it should be. If you want to get even fancier than that, you'll have to go for the Platinum trim, where you will get everything in every package from all other Pathfinder trims as standard, plus you'll also get the cooler digital instrument display right here. Upgraded leather seats with this really nice quilted pattern so everybody looking into your Pathfinder knows that you paid for the most expensive one. Cooled front seats get added on the Platinum trim along with the heads-up display, and the Platinum Pathfinder is the only one with the power tilt and telescoping steering column and a leather wrapped steering wheel, which feels really nice to grip. Platinum is also the only trim where you get memory seats, this cool bronze metallic brush trim. That looks really dope. Along with the kick to open liftgate so you can show off at your local grocery store, and a few other exclusive design touches. Now let's talk horsepower and torque. Power still comes from a 3.5-liter V6 pumping out a total of 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque, and they have gotten rid of the CVT transmission, thank God, and replaced it with a 9-speed automatic. Now, not that many shoppers in this segment care about 0 to 60, but the Pathfinder will do 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds, which is pretty impressive, and you have a top speed of 119 miles an hour. Now, as far as fuel economy goes, the four-wheel drive Pathfinder will give you 20 city and 25 highway. You have an 18.5 gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a couple of days of driving and a lot of idling today, a total of around 18 miles a gallon. All right, let's take a look at the exterior design of the new Pathfinder because I think it looks pretty nice and is definitely tougher looking than the outgoing one. And that's really Nissan's whole philosophy with the new Pathfinder. They call it the return to rugged. And I agree, I think the new Pathfinder is definitely way more rugged and more aggressive looking than the last gen that was a little bit too soft. On the front, you've got a large version of Nissan's signature V-Motion grille, and that gives it a really bold front end, along with this really nice defined crease on the side of the headlamps. That looks really cool. Speaking of the headlamps, all Pathfinder trims come standard with LED headlamps, LED daytime running lights, although I wish the turn signals were also LED. These are just regular halogen turn signals. And on the back, every Pathfinder trim gets really sharp looking LED taillights. These look really cool. And just like the front, the back of the Pathfinder also looks very bold, and nothing makes it more apparent than this oversized satin chrome Pathfinder badge right here. I really like this. I don't know why some people don't like giant logos on the back. I do. By the way, you'll also find a Pathfinder logo right here on the side on this chrome trim. You have a choice of 14 colors to pick from, and the SL and the Platinum can be had with a two-tone treatment like my test model here, with prices on those combinations ranging from $350 to $745. Now, before we get inside, let's check out the cargo capacity. You can pop open the trunk by using the kick to motion thing, but I don't like doing that. Let's just hit the button. Once you open it up, you have 16.6 cubic feet behind the third row. With the third row folded, you have 45 cubic feet behind the second row, and with both the second row and the third row folded, you're looking at a total of 80.5 cubic feet. And don't forget, the Pathfinder still has some cargo space under the floor of the third row, which is pretty nice. Now, we've already seen the interior of the Pathfinder quite a bit throughout this review, but let's just take a quick look at the design. Just like the outside, the interior of the new Pathfinder also has a pretty rugged look to it. Now, when I first hopped into the Pathfinder for the week, the first thing that I'd noticed was this really cool design to the shifter. It looks very cool and very tough. The second thing that I noticed was the design of the dash. I don't know why, but this whole area right here reminds me of Range Rover and Land Rover. The way it looks and the way it feels very premium, wrapped in leather, and the way this stitching divides it just reminds me a lot of what Range Rover and the Land Rover Discovery do. But yeah, overall this interior is very nicely designed, and I love the use of high quality materials throughout this cabin, even on the door panels right here. It's a nice combo of leather and soft touch materials. And the leather on the Platinum feels so nice and so soft. Very impressed with what Nissan did here. By the way, just want to point out, you've got Pathfinder written right here, just in case you forget what you're driving. It happens. And you also have this little storage area here that also says Pathfinder. Oh yeah, not sure if I pointed this out earlier, but every Pathfinder comes standard with paddle shifters, because you know, you're gonna love shifting this thing on the track. Now, before I give you my opinion on how the new Pathfinder stacks up against the competition, let me point out a few random things that I'd love to show all of you. You have 12 cup holders, 2 in the front for the front passengers, 6 in the back for the second row passengers, 2 on this door, 2 in the middle of the center console, 2 on that door, and then third row passengers get 4 cup holders, 2 on each side, you know, because they get really thirsty back here. Here are what the keys look like to the Nissan Pathfinder. Same old Nissan key, same old Infinity key. I think it's time for an upgrade. Door open and close sound from the outside and from the inside. Charging game-wise, in the front you're working with an optional wireless charger, which should be standard, a USB-C port and a USB-A port. My people in the second row get a USB-C port, a USB-A port, and a household outlet. Pretty nice. Third row passengers are working with a USB-A port on each side with a cover, which I'm guessing is because they're right next to the cup holder, so if the drink spills, it could mess up your USB-A port. So they put a nice little cover there. That's pretty clever. It is now time to hear the indicator and horn sound here on the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Indicator first. Pretty nice and gentle. Now for the horn sound. Pretty solid indeed. I like it. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder, let me give you my opinion on how this stacks up against the competition. All right, let's get to it. All right, so the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisade, and the Mazda CX-9 are still my top 3 picks in this segment. The Kia Telluride still being one of my personal favorites when it comes to looks. Yes, the Honda Pilot and the Toyota Highlander are legends here, but they are starting to get pretty outdated and they need some freshening up. I feel like this conversation will be very different once the Honda Pilot gets the updated design elements and tech that we've seen in the new Honda Civic, and the Toyota Highlander gets updated with what we've seen in the new Toyota Tundra. But for now, if you like an updated design, a modern interior with the latest tech, and something that's a bit new and fresh, I would highly recommend checking out the Nissan Pathfinder. I feel like Nissan has done an outstanding job when it comes to the interior quality, feel, and comfort of the new Pathfinder. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Peace. By the way, just the fact that every trim on the Nissan Pathfinder looks and feels like this on the inside is enough of a reason to check it out.